Welcome to Studio 5. This week we've got a look at the Kendrick Brothers film The Forge, and then a true story of underdogs becoming champions without winning the big game, and faith on the field for one Major League Baseball player. Let's get started with this week's countdown of the top 5 uplifting entertainment stories. At number 5. Righteous headlines for a rock band. Brad Arnold, lead singer of the rock band Three Doors Down, had some unexpected comments during a concert in Pennsylvania.
This world surrounds us by a message that will never be good enough. My friends, I just want to take a second to tell you that that's an absolute lie. Yes. You are loved. And you'll always be enough for one reason. And that's because Jesus Christ loves you.
At number 4.
Because of you, our enemy lives.
A theme of good versus evil. The hit Prime Video series, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, is back for a second season. The epic drama is set thousands of years before the events of Tolkien's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, as they fight the evil in the second age of Middle-earth. And our Studio 5 has this exclusive behind-the-scenes look.
Good and evil are very clearly defined in Tolkien, and he has a very strong sense of right and wrong, and that's present in all the work.
Sauron is the ultimate utilitarian. He knows exactly how to heal Middle-earth, and no matter who he has to betray, kill, everyone else is just standing in the way.
He deceived me.
No, Galadriel, you were blind.
The remaining 3 uplifting entertainment stories are coming up. Bible teacher Priscilla Shirer is making a return to the big screen in the newest film from the Kendrick Brothers. It's called The Forge.
I'm giving you 1 month to find a job, or you can find one of your little friends that's gonna let you sleep on their couch for free.
Can I help you? I'm just trying to talk to a young lady right here. I need for you to leave my shop right now. I'm gone, and I won't be back either.
I know that we will see shades of War Room in this film. Tell us who you are this time.
Well, I am Cynthia, and you mentioned War Room, and if people recall, if you can believe, War Room was 10 years ago, but there are a few scenes where Elizabeth Jordan in War Room is on the phone with her sister Cynthia. And so in this film, you meet Cynthia, who is a single mother of a young 19-year-old man who's trying to get his life together.
That's something right there your father would do.
Well, I ain't him.
You acting like him. Boy.
So when you hear that The Forge is being made and they've got a role for you, what's the first reaction?
When they showed me the script, I was mostly just immediately endeared to it because this woman is raising a son, and he's the exact same age, basically, as my 3 boys.
I just need some prayer support.
I'm just trying to see about a job, right?
And I could hear in the script, I could hear some of the exact things I would say to my boys about getting their life together.
When you fall on your face, as many times as I did, you finally realize it's better to learn from the mistakes of other people than to continually make your own.
Obviously, The Forge is about an older, wiser man showing up in her son's life and helping him at this critical juncture when he's coming into manhood. And that's what I so pray for as a mother of 3 sons, that outside of their father, their grandfathers, they have great uncles. Man, I do pray that the places where they get summer jobs or the coaches of their teams will care more about just their athleticism, but will also care about their character and want to affirm them and place value on them. I pray for that and have their whole lives. So I just really resonated with this particular film and that storyline.
You need to be more of a fountain than a drain. And you need to start giving more than you're taking. The more I thought about it, I was using people to reach my own goals without loving them at all.
How important is discipleship? It's not a pretty word or something we often talk about, but how important is it?
Oh, it's critical because it is actually the framework that Jesus, when you look back at his earthly ministry, what he did was call some people into his intimate circle. He pulled one after the other and said, come walk with me, be in step with me. This is what discipleship is. So for us as Christians, you know, it's one thing to accept the free gift of salvation, and thank God it's free. Discipleship is a whole nother thing, because that comes at a high cost.
A big part of becoming a man is showing up. Can you do that, Isaiah?
You made all these promises.
Who are we allowing to walk with us so that they can see the Christ in us and know what it looks like to live out the truths of Scripture in marriage, in the raising of kids, in the stewarding of finances, in the building of careers and businesses and ministries? If we don't have somebody to look at who's walked the road before us and has some insight, wisdom, and encouragement to share, we'll always be at a deficit. So it's a critical part of what it means to be a follower of Jesus.
You're 50 minutes early.
Hey, try not to be late again.
I want to introduce you to a small group of men that mean the world to me.
We grow together, we eat together. It's one of the most important things I've ever done in my life.
And in doing that, one of the unique ways that this happens in this film is the forge. What is the forge?
Well, the term itself is the name of a group that you get to see in this movie. They've called themselves the Forge. But the term itself really does reference a sword or a piece of iron that is being forged in the fire. It takes shape and is molded into the sharp point because it's in the heat. And this is what life does. We get put in heated situations, in trials, in circumstances we don't particularly prefer, but it's how we are being forged and formed into the image of Christ so that we can be sharp and prepared for the purposes that he has called us to. So that's what the forge references, and you kind of see it get flesh on it throughout the storyline in the movie.
I'm willing to go the second mile. We can't just walk out and do nothing. Let's roll.
If I may be blunt, a man stands in front of me.
The Forge is playing right now in theaters everywhere.
Still to come.
I'd say we're looking pretty whooped here, right? What are you talking about? We still got a chance.
A true story of a Little League team whose coach is in the fight of his life.
My memories of my dad are fantastic. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're okay with this all happening, right? We don't have bad memories.
Meet the real-life coach's son. At number 3, a football player and his faith are front-page news.
Ricky Pearsall, the San Francisco 49ers first-round pick in this year's NFL draft, who was shot in the chest during a robbery Saturday, was released from the hospital Sunday afternoon.
He was walking alone when a suspect approached him and attempted to commit an armed robbery using a gun.
Pearsall's mother, Erin Pearsall, posted on Facebook that while her son was shot, the bullet exited his back and did not hit any vital organs. She said, "Update on my baby boy. First and foremost, I want to thank God for protecting my baby boy. He is extremely lucky. God shielded him. My son was spared today by the grace of God."
At number 2. And a new baby makes a family of 3 for Justin and Hailey Bieber, who celebrate the arrival of Jack Blues Bieber. Page 6 spotted the new dad leaving church solo in Beverly Hills just days ago.
But I just keep on saying.
And with that, we've got just one more story to share in this week's countdown. Please stay with us for that and for this. It's the true story of a Little League team. They were underdogs when their coach found himself in the fight of his life. His battle lights a fire in the team and sends them to the Little League World Series in 2002. See how they win, despite what the scoreboard said.
We move into the 11th inning.
You all right? Son, you got to keep your eyes open.
Technically, he didn't drop it. It dropped him.
Robert, when did you know that your story here was a movie?
Yeah, good question.
Good to see someone so cash about the spirit of baseball.
What else in life is there, Sam?
I'd say we're looking pretty whooped here, right? What are you talking about? We still got a chance.
I think it was around November of 2019. Coach John Kelly, who was the manager of the West Side All-Star team, gave me a call, said, hey, can you have lunch next Thursday at my house?
Coach, got a proposition for you. You manage the All-Stars and make a run the Little League World Series. I manage the worst team in the league. You got 10 days to whip these boys into shape.
2.5 hours later, after tears and laughter, I think we all agreed that we were going to try to do a movie.
Oh, wow.
Let's go! Not bad, right? The game can change with just one hit.
Dad, go get Mom, go get Mom. Help!
Where do we go from here? Depends how hard you choose to fight. There's nothing that makes me feel better than watching you all play ball.
What do you remember most looking back at your dad in that time?
Yeah, my dad always had a smile. He was obviously going through some intense treatments with melanoma skin cancer. He had a positive attitude. He always asked how we were doing, how the guys were doing. I think obviously you'll see it in the movie, but there's a lot of joy. It gave him a lot of purpose to come to our games and to continue to fight his cancer battle. And just really great memories. I mean, I don't think I could draw up a better last summer to spend with my dad.
If we could just win for him, I know he could get better.
Bobby's always been there for us. Now it's time we're there for him.
1, 2, 3.
How would you describe the relationship between you and Dad?
Oh, it was the best, right? I mean, it's been a while. He passed away 21 years ago, and my memories of my dad are fantastic. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're okay with this all happening, right? We don't have bad memories. Do we have sad memories? Yeah, he was battling cancer. So did we see him at times that were sad? Sure, yeah, of course. But my memories of my dad are just spectacular. He taught me a lot. Only had him for 13 years. But he really taught me a lot and made the most of his time here on earth and made the most of his time as our dad.
Beautiful. Now, your dad wrote you a letter, correct?
Yeah, my dad wrote me a letter, and I continued to. Now I'm writing I have 2 boys now, Wyatt and Henry. Wyatt's 3 and Henry's 10 months old, and I'm writing them a few letters here and there now. But my dad wrote me a really cool letter that I'll have forever. He had a list of things he wanted to teach me, and some of them were faith-based and how to be a man of faith. Some of them were things that he never got to teach me because his time here was cut short. And there were things about being a dad one day or being a husband that he mentions that obviously he never got to teach me. But it's really neat that he took the time to lay out these principles that he wanted to pass on to us or to me, and that I've gotten to share with my brother, and that hopefully I'll do a good job. If I can do half as good of a job as my dad did with us in that short period of time with my boys, then I think I'll do okay.
What do you hope people take away from you sharing your story?
Yeah, great question. A few of the things are, hey, if we can strengthen people to believe in God and strengthen people to have a relationship with Christ, and lead people to Christ, then that is important. 2, I think we're hoping people walk away knowing that if they believe, they can accomplish anything they want. We hope that people walk away and they really start to believe not only in God but also in themselves. And then thirdly, like if we can bring a dad and a son back together, maybe there's a relationship that's struggling. Maybe it's 2 brothers that just are going through a tough time. Maybe it brings them closer. If we can help people believe in God, we can help relationships improve and help people believe in themselves, and I think we accomplish a lot.
We never expect to be in this situation, but here we are. We can beat the odds. So can I.
It's just a game, Bobby.
It's more than that.
You Gotta Believe is available right now. We need to take a break, and as we do, it's time to share this week's story in pictures. Here's your Studio 5 snapshot.
The popular PureFlix franchise God's Not Dead grows next week with a new installment. God's Not Dead and God We Trust is the 5th film in the franchise. It hits theaters September 12th. David A.R. White returns as Reverend David Hill in a story that centers on issues like freedom of speech, religious liberties, and the role of faith in public life. These are a few images from the new production, and they are this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. Just moments away.
In the Bible, you see Old Testament people going to war like Joshua. Do not fear, be strong and courageous. That stuff really resonates with me when I'm out there.
Major League Baseball's Logan Gilbert with a story of faith on the field. At number 1.
I call upon the scientific community, those who gave us nuclear weapons, to turn their great talents now to the cause of mankind and world peace.
Dennis Quaid's Reagan opens earning nearly double expectations at more than $9 million and finishing 3rd at the box office. You, in this story, explore more of his faith than people are probably used to seeing.
Well, it's because it was such a huge part of his life. It was an everyday part of his life, starting from as a young boy. He even made the decision on his own to be baptized at that time.
Dutch, there's a purpose for your life.
You can run from a bully for so long, but after a while, you're going to have to stand up to him. It's my boy! His mother was his rock. That's another way that we're very similar. And he had an alcoholic father, which is kind of similar. That does something to a person, and you need a rock in life, and he found that early on.
Welcome back to Studio 5. Logan Gilbert is one of the most imposing players on the mound, and the towering ace of the Seattle Mariners has put together another all-star season.
Having a really good sense of your identity and where that comes from is the most important thing for me, and that's helped me in the journey. It can be so competitive and fierce, and in the Bible, you see Old Testament people going to war like Joshua. Do not fear, be strong and courageous. That stuff really resonates with me when I'm out there. This supernatural peace that will find you in really tough situations and circumstances, and I'll pray before the games, and then when I get out there, I'm completely in the moment, completely competitive. The two come together every single time. Just eternal connection with God. I do all my warm-ups, running around, and then that's when I take a second to just to be still for a couple moments. That's, I think, when it clicks for me. And then, of course, I'll be nervous right before the game, and then when I go out there, it's where I really feel most comfortable. You don't necessarily know that things are going to go perfect, but you know that regardless of how things go, that you'll be okay because you have something so much greater. You have eternal significance and security from God, that it's not proving yourself in some way. It's almost like draining at times because every single pitch, you go through the same commitment, mental process, and it happens every 15 seconds or whatever. But you throw a pitch, execute, learn from it, and then completely forget about it, in a way, and go on to the next one, and you do that over and over, completely committed to your process. Trying to be perfect was helped me get here, so I had to learn how to walk that line and how to do it in a healthy, sustainable way. I kind of gave up trying to be perfect, controlling results. I don't really have as much control as I think. I'm so grateful that I can surrender that to somebody that is in control, and there's so much hope in that. I've been out there pitching games and it could go great, but almost felt like tight, like, oh no, at any second something could go wrong. But if you're being yourself, you have that freedom that comes with it. That freedom is ultimately what you were called to live in. Now you're enjoying the moment, you're enjoying what you were made to do. There's just so much anxiety, like everybody, even I at times face it. When you have that unconditional love, you know the source that gives that to you. There's just so much peace in that, and nothing I could do could change that. You don't have this mask on. You're not trying to perform in a certain way to hold up a trophy and say, look at me. I'm already known by God who loves me, and that can't be taken away. He wants to know the real you, right? Just like we want to know him as you experience him. God knows us better than we know ourselves, so it's like, Why would we pretend to be anything else? I mean, there's important stuff here, right? But it's like, what is one more, whatever it is, going to relate to eternally being loved by God who made you, who already says you're enough? I feel like everyone, whether they know it or not, is searching for that fulfillment and looking for it in different ways, unfortunately not finding it anywhere else. And I've experienced that myself in this game or a ton of other things. But the love of Jesus, being known by him, knowing him, when you know the hole in your heart that's meant for Jesus and ultimately you feel that when you know him, that's the fulfillment that we're made for.
Logan played college baseball, where he was named Pitcher of the Year in 2017 and 2018 in the Atlantic Sun Conference. Welcome back, Studio 5. As you know, music helps us to bring you this show each and every week, and this week's soundtrack comes from Chandler Moore's newest project, Live in Los Angeles. Take a listen, and you'll hear why joy is what's playing in my ear this week. That is Joy from Chandler Moore and Israel Houghton. It's part of Chandler's Live in Los Angeles album. On that musical note, we are just about out of time for this week's edition of Studio 5. So let's take a quick look at what we have in store for you on next week's Rundown. A new day for recording artist Danny Gokey, who finished in the top 3 of American Idol Season 8. Your love will make a grown man cry. He sits down with Studio 5 for a candid conversation about his life, his music, and the sound of heaven. Cause that devil, he ain't nothing but a liar. He keeps me looking down to try to trip me up. Have an album called Sound of Heaven. And fairly new, came out in July, correct?
The Sound of Heaven really means it's like I'm a diverse kind of artist. And what I mean by that, it's not me patting myself back like, yeah, I'm different. Not that at all. I grew up with a lot of culture. So that's all infused into this album. Worship, praise, CCM, Afrobeats, which has been like the new thing I've been for the last couple of years.
Be sure and join us for that story and so much more next week. This week, we've got time for just one more thing, and we want to give that to Priscilla Shirer. She's got this week's final word.
Many of the things we wrestle with as believers is we're wrestling with the line of sin. How close can I get to sin without actually sinning? But for the disciple, that is not the compass nor the question. The question is not how close can I get to sin without crossing the line. For the disciple, the question is how close can I get to Jesus? That means that there are many things that are not sinful in and of themselves, but if they're not beneficial in the goal of making me more sensitive to the conviction of the Holy Spirit, more fervent in my prayer life, if it dulls spiritual things or takes the relish off of the awe that I have, the fear of God and the awe and wonder of God, if it's not helping me in that direction, then it actually is antagonistic to what it is that I'm supposed to be doing with my life. So the question is not as much about sin, it's about, is there any weight or hindrance that's keeping me from running full speed the race that he has set before me?
Priscilla, thank you. That is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching.